Hello everyone, this is Layman here. Today I want to talk to you about something that's come to my attention. It's a device, it's a mining device to be specific, called the MatchX M2 Pro miner. It runs and mines, it runs on the MXC protocol, which is based or backed by a company called the MXC Foundation. I want to look into it today and explain to you what I found out about it, how it works, etc. So without further ado, we'll jump straight into it. The MXC Foundation is the company behind it. They are basically saying that they are a non-profit organization and they aim to provide a free smart city IoT network on the blockchain, as you can read here. So the MXC Foundation itself is a non-profit organization, and you have the CEO here, who basically believes in the power of the fuller transparency. Read about the latest press releases, etc., etc. So the website is mxc.org. Then they list their partnerships, etc. Essentially, what they say is there are three separate types of participants in the network and in the protocol. First of all, there are sensors or sensor owners. These are people who place sensors on such, and they mention an example of wheelie bins or bins or rubbish bins, if you want to call them. So there are sensors on rubbish bins, for example, and those rubbish bins, when they are full, they transmit a signal or a data, or however you want to call it, to a gateway, which is the miner. In this instance, the MatchX M2 Pro is a gateway, and the gateway transports that signal to a supernode who registers in the blockchain and then notifies the relevant authority, etc., to come and empty the bin. So that's in a nutshell how it actually supposedly works. Now, what the MXC Foundation or the MXC protocol prides itself on is essentially what they call a anti-collision or collision prevention technology. So they're basically saying what they do differently is that when there's a lot of data being transmitted, data can get mixed up and collide with each other and get lost, and their devices have something which basically can filter that data and prevent these collisions. So that's their key sales point, according to my understanding. Now, that being the company, now we'll move on to the actual token itself. So the MXC Foundation and MXC protocol is backed by a token called the MXC Token. It's an ERC20 token, so presumably based on the Ethereum blockchain. So, and when I was looking into this token, the tokenomics actually leave a lot to be desired. So there is no detailed explanation as to how the token is minted, how this whole thing runs, how the rewards are distributed, etc. All I could find was that the MXC fund is allocated in a certain way. As you can see here, this is an extract from their white paper. The 10%, oh sorry, this is not the right one. Let's go here, the MXC token distribution summary. So the total supply of the MXC token is going to be something around 2,642,132,373 MXC tokens. 20% of which was sold to early investors, 10% was sold to more private investors in a private ICO, then another 30% was sold to, I assume, more private investors in a private sale, and 20% of the total tokens are actually given to the team. So, which being the CEOs and the the main team, essentially. And then the remaining 20% of tokens, so 80% tokens are actually in private hands, and the remaining 20% tokens are given or allocated to the actual non-profit foundation called the MXC Foundation. Now, the interesting thing that I've come across is that out of that 20%, another 60% are allocated to marketing, legal, ecosystem, R&D, etc. And only 40% out of the 20% allocated to the MXC Foundation are allocated to mining. So this is the 40%, or this is a share that device owners will be earning. Now, that in itself is a bit strange, but that is actually as far as the tokenomics go. They don't explain anything else in terms of how the tokenomics work, how the minting is worked, how the distribution of the mining tokens is going to work. They have no clear sort of roadmap as to what's going to happen. So it's all left unanswered, pretty much. And I couldn't find any satisfying sort of answer to that. So that I'll leave with you. Now, that is obviously concerning to me, because I have no idea what the token is based on, what things may influence the token price in future, what may drive it down, what may drive it up. Absolutely no indication whatsoever. So all it says is that 80% of the all total supply of tokens is allocated to private individuals and early investors and the team, and 20% goes to the foundation, which is a charitable foundation running the whole thing. And out of that 20% share of the token's total supply, only 40%, that's less than half, are actually allocated to mining. So I'll leave that with you. I don't know what to make of that, to be perfectly honest. And there is absolutely, as I said, there is absolutely no indication and no explanation as to how the mining actually works. So I had to look into other areas to find out how the mining rewards work, etc. And what I found was slightly strange. So essentially, a lot of people have been saying that that if you actually buy a device, which by the way is not a cheap device, it costs 2,500 euros. So as you can see, it's not exactly a cheap device. People say that you typically mine between 10 to 14 US dollars worth of MXC tokens daily, right? So I want you to bear that in mind. So it's between 10 and 14 US dollars. So it always fluctuates. Why it fluctuates, we don't know. What it depends on, we don't know. So it's all left unanswered. All I've learned is that the device mines what the device does is, if for example, the price of the MXC token rises on a particular day, the device mines less tokens to remain within the 10 to 14 US dollars range. And if the price goes down, the device gives you more tokens to keep the mining revenue between 10 and 14 US dollars, which is extremely strange to me. I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. However, once you've mined the tokens and you're holding them and the price goes up, obviously that will increase your return. But on a particular day, the return on your mining is actually influenced by the token price. But then the strange thing is, the token price we have no idea what that is being influenced by, and that I find really strange. So that's what I really have found out. I mean, there is not a lot, to be perfectly honest. The white papers explain a lot of things about technical stuff, about how data is transmitted and how they use a data exchange or selling protocol of some sort, and then it is exchanged to the MXC tokens, and then they're returned. So there is a lot of technical stuff about that, but the most important thing is nothing about the token is actually known. Only the total supply and who has what. So that's pretty much it. Now coming to the actual price of investment, it's, as I said, 2,500 euros. So if we do a calculation and assume that the device is going to mine approximately $10 to $14 daily, then your return on your investment is going to take you approximately 9 to 10 months. That is when the device would have paid for itself, and anything you mine after that is your profit. So that is my findings. So I don't know what else to say about this. To be perfectly honest, there is too many things that are completely unanswered. I've tried my best to look into the white papers and study them, but I have not sort of managed to find any answers to make heads or tails of how this whole thing is going to work. So I'll leave the judgment call down to you, whether or not it's worth investing. If you want to look at the device, I'll place a link in the description. It's available on Amazon. If you want to buy it, that's entirely your decision. But if you know anything else that I've missed out, or anything that may help us clarify the whole thing, please leave a comment, and I am more than happy to be corrected on something I've got wrong. I am not a professional. None of this is professional financial advice or anything. So please take this information with a pinch of salt, and just do your own due diligence before you put money into anything at all. So hopefully this was a bit helpful. If there is any questions that you have that you want answered, as usual, please leave a comment. And finally, I would like to really thank you all for all your support, and for all your appreciation. It has helped me a lot, and I really, really appreciate that. So look after yourselves, and I will speak to you soon.